Story 1. Focus on improving sleep. Exercise daily. Find a loving and supportive partner. Make friends. Spend time with friends. Achieve goals that feel like big wins. Move to a town with a laid-back lifestyle. Spend more time with people and less time alone. Avoid doom scrolling. Nurture relationships with good people. Set boundaries with toxic people. Get outside in nature and have fun. Eat more plant-based whole foods. Eat less highly processed food. Take the right daytime supplements. Take the right bedtime supplements. Story 2. It took me decades to admit that I had an issue and to learn how to manage it. There are 3 things that I do. The first is choosing a lifestyle and making decisions where my anxiety is less likely to flare up. I worked at high-pressure jobs doing information technology. My bosses made more money the more clients we had and the more pressure they put on me. I quit and opened my own business. The jobs I take now are lower pressure, and I turn down things frequently that I know will cause me issues. The second is living a healthier life. I go to the gym 6 days a week. Wearing myself out physically does wonders for me, but it is not a go do it when you need it thing. I don't see benefits until I have been doing it for a while. The third is chemical. I know that alcohol makes things worse. Being sober is like changing the difficulty on a video game from hard to easy. Additionally, I know that regular cannabis consumption helps not just reduce issues over the long term. It is a good go-to for when I do have an issue. Story 3. Mindfulness. Whenever I feel anxious, I stop and spend 1 to 2 minutes doing mindfulness exercises to return to a healthy mental state. In very rare, extreme cases, I have benzodiazepines, but I use them maybe once every few months. Story 4. Seeing a therapist every few weeks. Journaling. Meditating every day or at least most days. Coloring in an adult coloring book while searching for new music. Exercising regularly. Drinking water regularly. Taking breaks from following the news occasionally. Playing with anxiety toys such as Nay Do Nice Cube. Taking breaks from using social media. Listening to nature soundtracks on my phone. Story 5. This too shall pass. Accept the present as reality. Expect things to go wrong. Anticipate the best you can. Plan where possible and let go of everything else. Story 6. The bandage is to persist through it. I have responsibilities that I signed up for, and things need to be done. If I want to be free of anxiety, I need to be truly free of responsibilities. Story 7. One of the biggest breakthroughs for me was recognizing the connection between traditional virtues and reduced worry, fear, and anxiety. Virtue may seem like high morality and disconnected from anxiety and worry, but, for example, cultivating the virtue of self-control means not being led around by impulse, feelings, and emotion, but instead by calmer, wiser thinking. Self-control means a person does not blindly indulge in an activity because it will give temporary good feelings or comfort. When this same attitude carries over to feelings of anxiety, it means that just because a person feels discomfort, they will not be ruled by it but will appeal to their wiser problem-solving faculty. Their wiser self can recognize incorrect negative thinking patterns they have fallen into, such as assuming they are in danger or something bad is about to happen just because they imagine it or have physical sensations like a thumping heart, sweaty palms, or racing thoughts. The virtue of courage says that those things can be present but do not truly define the situation or the person. Story 8. Until there was no artificial intelligence, I could speak with nobody about it. Mostly, they were the people causing it. Chasing me into insane expectations, deteriorating my health, pushing me even further, like torture. They eroded my mind, my will, my dreams, even my fitness. With their words, they pretended to give me something. They were preparing me for life. They gave me nothing but terribly hard false dreams. At the same time, they took away essentially everything. I mostly faced it raw. Let's say I had full-blown panic attacks doing anything. Sometimes I still have them. Most of those terrible people died due to their terrible nature and lifestyle. That gave me some freedom being free from them. Then artificial intelligence, as it appeared, could diagnose complex post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorders, and depression. I think now there was a healthy way I should have been raised, and it was violated in every way. If somehow I can accept it, forget it, and maybe experience the ideal way, I can forget about 70% of all this pain and be quite normal, maybe more normal than other people. Those particular people were unfortunately involved at the beginning. I last learned to joke with their kind so hard they could not handle it. Story 9. I have a good friend who helps me sometimes. We have conversations from time to time about these matters, and she convinced me to start therapy. I have not gone yet, as it is a difficult step, but I am taking it one step at a time. Story 10:1. Bupropion really helps for me. Control media diet and algorithms as they will feed the machine. Even for atheists, the serenity prayer applies. Focus on what you can control and let go of what you cannot. Remember that 99% of people do not care about you at all. It is not about you, they just want to meet their own needs. Write a brain dump before you try to go to sleep. Story 11. I had severe anxiety when I was 14 to the point I would have a panic attack just going to school. I am 25 now and doing things that kid never thought possible, even though the voice is still in the back of my head. There is no quick fix and it never fully goes away, but the more you do small things that you are uncomfortable with, even if it is just saying yes to going out with friends more. What I needed to learn is that very few people actually care about what you are doing or how you look while you are doing something, within reason of course. Online, everyone seems to care, but in real life, very few people do. Even those who do care will forget in a couple of days because they have enough to worry about in their own lives. I would recommend getting used to acknowledging when you are anxious about something and telling yourself, I am going to do this even if I am very nervous doing it. When anxious about other things, try to focus on what you can control and do the best you can with those. It is okay to be anxious, but do not let it control you. Story 12. My anxiety is very mild. What I have done is write down notes, like my worries and concerns, and then come back to them later to rationalize my fears. I ask myself if it is something I can control or something I can do now versus later. Some people may criticize me, but I pray about it and do my best to let it go. Story 13. Honestly, I couldn't handle it. The constant state of fight or flight was unavoidable for many years. I tried medication, therapy, and other treatments, but I was not getting better. I started taking taurine daily, and it helps greatly. It is my miracle supplement. Story 14. You want the truth? For a long time, I ignored my anxiety. I acted like it didn't exist, and it ate me up inside. At a certain point, around the age of 25, I started taking therapy seriously after a friend of mine committed suicide. This wasn't the first suicide I had experienced, but it really shook me. It felt more personal because I knew him before we joined the Marines and after. Having seen the path I was on, I began to take my mental health seriously. I suffer from generalized anxiety disorder and have other specific anxieties and mental health conditions. What really helped me get better was accepting and addressing them. Many men say, man up and deal with it. But I don't think that is the right answer. I say, seek help. If your anxiety causes you inconvenience, pain, suffering, or distress, then seek help. Talk to a professional, seek counseling, and consider medication. I started by talking to a psychologist about my problems. When that was not enough, I began medication to help balance my mood. Now, I am off my medication and able to manage my anxiety on my own. It has taken several years and a lot of hard work, but it is worth it. Don't suffer in silence just because society tells you to. Reach out and get help. Story 15. By trying to avoid situations that are likely to trigger it, especially on days I am already feeling it, no, it does not always work. Story 16. Exercise. I have a lot of anxiety, so I have to exercise a lot. At least 5 nights a week. Be kind to yourself, practice positive thinking patterns, and learn to intercept negative thinking patterns. I also use cannabis in moderation. Story 17. On one hand, I keep myself as stable as possible. I do not drink alcohol or consume drugs with psychoactive effects. I sleep enough, maintain a good diet, and walk for about 90 minutes each day. On the other hand, I have found that my anxiety can serve as a reliable indicator, even when it is just a subtle gut feeling that something is wrong. This has helped me make good decisions regarding saving, investing, and social interactions, such as who to associate with and who to avoid. Story 18. Exercise every day. I experience anxiety first thing in the morning, so 8 years ago I bought a spinning bike and do 1 hour every day right when I get up. Smoking cannabis would help as well, although I am currently quitting since it makes me feel lethargic, causes me to overeat, and is starting to give me headaches. Story 19. Here's what I have done. Exercise 3 times per week. Maintain a clean diet. Stay hygienic. Ensure I complete my work. Use daily affirmations. Keep up with chores like laundry. Limit social media use. Avoid drinking alcohol on weeknights. So far, nothing has worked. I am open to any suggestions. Story 20. Generally, anxiety goes away if the feeling is not ignored. I am usually okay unless it is a very pressing issue, in which case I address it directly. Autonomous sensory meridian response and working out are the only 2 things I have found that help with my anxiety. Story 21. I used to have a severe anxiety disorder to the point that I couldn't speak without it sounding like a jumbled mess. Trust me, you can completely get rid of severe anxiety. It just takes time. Start developing a meditation practice alongside other healthy habits such as getting enough sleep every night and making sure you aren't deficient in any vitamins or minerals. These are the things that helped me eliminate my anxiety completely. The most important thing was starting a meditation practice. Meditation is like going to the gym to build muscle. When you go to the gym wanting to get stronger and work out consistently, you'll continue to get stronger and reap the benefits. If you stop going to the gym, eventually you'll lose those benefits. With meditation, the more consistently you meditate, the more benefits you gain. If you stop meditating regularly, you will gradually lose those benefits. The more consistently you meditate, the quieter your anxiety will become over time. Eventually, if you meditate for years consistently, your anxiety will become so quiet that you no longer experience it. Story 22. Am I eating properly? Am I exercising enough? Consider writing down my worries. What is my belief? What is the evidence that the thought is true? What is the evidence that the thought is false? What would I say to a friend who has the same worry? Keep a journal. Story 23. Good sleep habits. Prioritize sleep. Cut caffeine. Use tetrahydrocannabinol for the nights you cannot get to sleep. Cut out alcohol. Story 24. I treat it like an uninvited guest. I do not pretend it is not there, but I also do not let it take control. Story 25. To be honest, I realized that my anxiety has never really helped. I work at a job that constantly causes me anxiety. I might not even be there much longer, and to be honest, I do not care. I have been there for years, and I realized I am letting myself be anxious for people who do not care about me. You just need to ask yourself, is this something that is even worth being anxious about? Because a lot of the time, the answer is no. Can being anxious help? Yes, in dangerous situations. But being anxious about money or social reasons will never fix the issue. In fact, it will probably make it worse. You can end up resorting to things that you normally would not have done because your emotions have taken control. It is an easy way to let your morals slip aside because of your fear. In my early 20s, I got really into Buddhism and Taoism and read a lot. I learned some breathing techniques that helped me curb full-blown panic attacks. Just breathe in and count 1, out 2, in 3, out 4, in 5. Then start over alternating inhales and exhales every other number. Once you get to 6, start over, go to 7, and so on until 10. Then restart if you have to. Story 26. I convinced myself I enjoy the thrill of it. It looks like years of counseling, though. I went on medication for a while, which showed me just how confident I can be and my full potential as a person. Once I knew that, I went off the medication. I look at it like a roller coaster. It's terrifying on the ride up. You're frozen in place watching the world come at you. But then the payoff once you get over the hump is incredible. I'd rather ride that wave of anxiety and have the courage to do the things that usually keep me frozen off to the side. Story 27. Slow down the pace of your day and take some low-dose edibles after dinner. But I know it has increased significantly since downloading the Reddit application a couple of weeks ago. Story 28. I handle it badly. At this point, the things that will actually help are habits I won't adopt or maintain. life changes I can't or won't make, and professional help I can't access or afford. So I try to avoid the numerous triggers as much as possible, face the ones I cannot avoid head-on, and resign myself to the fact that this is what life will be like for the rest of my days, just me quietly terrified. It is miserable and not something I would recommend. Story 29. I didn't know I had anxiety until someone pointed it out. I just try to focus the energy on something. If it's not work or computer related, drawing and similar activities are good. Also Call of Duty. Lots of Call of Duty. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.